If you are looking to build your drone business in 2025, this video is for you. So, a couple weeks ago, I did a live workshop with a ton of people online where I went through the strategies that I've implemented over the last 7 years of building my drone business. And this is a snippet, about 15 minutes of really the basics, a little bit about me, a little about what I've done, some of my clients, and then really getting into the steps involved in going to getting your first paid job, your first $1,000, going to 1 to 2K a month consistently, and then going to 5K a month consistently and above that. And then it really covers the foundational building blocks. One, becoming the trusted drone expert. Two, getting your deliverables polished. Built on the top, really on top of that is our marketing, getting our marketing mastered and being able to actually be findable as a trusted drone expert in our local area. So jump in, it's 15 minutes. If you want to watch the rest of the workshop, I'll put a link down below as well, but jump into it. If you're looking for a get rich quick scheme where you want to make a ton of money without putting in any effort or little to no effort, like this definitely isn't for you. Anyone who's been in business knows that business is hard. Building a drone business requires hard work and really a willingness to prioritize your business above sometimes all else, sometimes making really, really big sacrifices. So it's not easy, but it's absolutely worth it. But I want to dive in. Sure, obviously you're wondering like, hey, can I actually help you? Can I give you some tips and what is this going to be like? So a lot of the clients that I've worked with, they've also had the same question. Travis helped him to get to 7K in a month, closer to heaven. Braden helped him go full time after a few months working with me. Flyover Drone Co. He actually just told me yesterday that he made $2,800 this last month flying drones. People say you can't make money in January. Well, I guess I beg to differ. And Sky Eyes, we helped him can get to 3,500 in a month. My goal is obviously to help drone pilots with the stuff that I've implemented into my business. Helped over 100 pilots get to the next level, get their drone business off the ground. Helped tons of people get their first paid job. Moving on to that, helping them make their first $1,000. Some 1 to 2K a month consistently, others quitting their full-time jobs, others getting to 5K a month consistently. So really my goal is to kind of give you the strategies of what I've done and what I've taught those people as well. Because I know all you guys can do this. Like if this is a real priority for you, 100% it can be done, but it's not like a one and done kind of thing. Like being consistent in business is probably the most important thing that you need to actually build something that you're going to be happy with moving down the road. So for me, I'm kind of in the same boat as you guys. Like I started out my business in 2018. Before that, I went to flight school, spent 4 years in the cockpit, was going to be an airline pilot, graduated from the University of North Dakota, got my fixed wing certificates, was going to be an airline pilot. And when I finished, I just decided really that wasn't for me. Wanted to get into drones instead. I wanted to get into something that I could build, and I wasn't going to build an airline anytime soon. The first year or two after I started in 2018 was definitely a lot harder than I expected. Trying to figure things out. I was in Indiana at the time. Me and my wife had just got married, and it was kind of on the side. My goal was to make it full time, but juggling everything, had to bring the benefits for the wife. And trying to figure out how to do everything was a lot harder than I expected. It's like, okay, I know drone operations, I know how to fly, I know aviation, got my 107, great. That's basically step zero. But now how do I market myself? How do I get to the next level? How do I start getting consistency in my business? And after committing to the process, after about a year or two, started getting some traction, started getting some consistency, started building out my contracts and building the business. Then after about 4 years, me and my wife ended up moving completely across the country to where we're at now, which is Las Vegas. And I got to start again from scratch. It was like, oh, great. Like I love starting my business from scratch. Let's try it again. And thankfully, within about 6 months of starting over, was able to build the business to a point that was actually better than when I left the Midwest. And the real reason for that was really just figuring out what worked and what didn't work in those 4 years, just really in the trenches, going, how can I just compress time in a brand new city, in a place that I literally don't know anybody, and take things to the next level. Got to 6 figures, and then I started coaching other drone pilots about a year or two ago, just really giving them the strategies that I've been implementing and helping them fix things along the way where it's like, hey, let's compress time. Am I the smartest person in the world? Absolutely not. I just have 7 years of experience in the trenches of doing it and going, hey, this is exactly what I recommend for you and how we can take things to the next level. So that's a little bit about me. Obviously, most of you probably came on from Instagram. At this point, I've got 26,000 followers. We kind of just crossed the 26. And then my business, JCL Aerial Services, we've got over 65-star reviews on Google with clients. Some of them, like I'd say 90% are people that are drone business clients. And then 10% maybe are those that I kind of showed you the actual coaching clients that I've worked with. So looking at really what we want to do, like we're all probably on this staircase right now, right? Like how many of you guys would say, if you want to put in the chat, like, are you trying to get your first 1 to 10 paid jobs? Or if we're like, hey, I'm trying to get to 1 to 2K a month consistently, I've got some paid jobs. And then if we're, hey, I'm, getting consistency, but I'm trying to get to that 5+ K a month mark, we're going to kind of break down what barriers I see to each of these steps. Because it's like right now, like these steps are here for a reason because it's a barrier. Like we can't get through it, right? We've got to figure out how we can get above it. Even if we're just starting from here, it's like, okay, how do I get the first job? Like, how do I get paid dollars in my account? How do I prove the concept? So I'm going to run through like the bottlenecks of each of these steps, but I really want to build off of like the foundation first. So coming down here, if you've heard any of what I talk about, or if we've ever met, like I talk about this all the time. It's really the 3 pieces of our foundation of the business. So we've got to become the trusted drone expert in our local area. That's going to allow us to provide exceptional service, know exactly what we're doing, and educate our clients on what we're doing, right? Like that's really the heart of the business. So we've got to be good at drone operations, right? So what does this mean? Really, this comes down to you building that credibility locally, right? That allows us 2 things. 1, to attract better clients, and 2, to charge higher prices, which I'm guessing that's all what we want to do, right? No, I want to charge lower prices. I don't think so. Well, when it comes down to the credibility and being able to, like I said, attract better clients, people finding you, right? And being able to charge higher prices, there's the differentiation that we've got to make between a hobbyist and a professional. So like what differentiates you from everyone else that just went and bought a drone at Best Buy last week and is pretending like they have their 107? And are we actually educating our clients on that? So for me, like when I'm going out and flying, because I fly on a regular basis, probably make about 10K a month consistently. When I'm going out and flying these jobs, I'm also communicating what I'm doing beforehand. I'm communicating my preparation. Like even when I'm quoting someone, it's like, hey, I'm excited to work with you. If this works out, great. Like just want to let you know, like we are going to be in uncontrolled airspace today. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like I didn't even know like airspace existed. But it's just little like subtleties that I'm doing on a regular basis. But if I can communicate that to my clients, like how I'm preparing for a job, how I'm setting things up, how I'm going to implement what we're doing on the job, like that shows them what they're paying for versus, oh yeah, like I'm just having you come out and throw your drone in the air and like that shouldn't be more than what, $58, right? Like why would you charge more than that? So we've got to be able to educate our clients because a lot of you guys might be like, hey, like I'm a professional. Like I'm an expert. I know exactly what I'm doing. Well, maybe the people that we're trying to work with don't know that. And so the experience, it really comes down to like you can go buy a meal for like $5 today at McDonald's, or you can go to a place like on the strip, like Carbone, and pay $158 for the same like thing, basically a burger and some fries. But it really comes down to the experience and the value that you feel like you are getting, right? And so how you can actually educate your clients on the beforehand of what you're doing is super, super important. And this comes down how we build the credibility, 2 pieces, like just being a good drone pilot and then really having the confidence in your ability to over deliver for every client that you work with. It's like when I go out on site, I know without a doubt, 100% hands down, I'm going to over deliver for my clients. I know that I'm going to give them a better experience than they're expecting. I'm going to be more professional than they thought. And that shines through in every piece, everything that I do, even the footage, even the content. And it probably comes through on my pricing too. It's like, oh man, you're charging a pretty high price. You must be pretty confident. A lot of you guys are charging lower prices because we're afraid of hearing no, and really we just don't have that confidence. So it's like, how can we build our confidence as that expert in our area? And how can we leverage the education of knowing like, hey, you are the trusted expert? And then number 2, like really just getting our content polished, like polishing our deliverables. Like this is what allows us to charge higher prices. a really good product, right? Like many times, like pilots get an opportunity to work for someone, to fly for someone, and then we never hear from them again. Like, oh man, that client ghosted me. It's like, well, maybe we gave them a crappy product. Like maybe we didn't ask for feedback and maybe we didn't get them what they were looking for. And so for us, it's like, how can we give someone an exceptional experience and an exceptional product? If I'm perfect at the experience, but I'm still bad at giving them the product, they're still not going to work with me again. They're not going to refer me. They're not going to give me a testimonial. They're not going to recommend me. Right. And so that is super important. Number two, like really, we've just got to get feedback from anybody that we worked with, any clients that we've been in communication with, anything that we've done. Like we've got to make sure feedback is like a normal thing that we're getting, because I see a lot of pilots like go out and shoot some really terrible trash content and someone paid them money for it and they're like, okay, well, I'm not doing that again, right? But they probably wouldn't tell you. Like there are a lot of people that I've hired in the past and they did a crappy job and I just never hired them again. But they never asked like, hey, like why didn't you hire me again, or did I do a good job? If they asked me, I would tell them like, no, it was trash. But instead, like we just never talk. And so we've got to be able to get that feedback. And then coming back below that, like, is it a good industry fit? Like a lot of times I see marketing for drone businesses and it's like a one size fits all. And the thing is, like, what we do is drone services. So it's all kind of drone work, but how we package it, how we deliver it, how we actually give to each industry is completely different. And the reason is because they buy for different reasons. And so when I pitch to a construction company on an 18-month contract, my pitch is going to be significantly different than if I'm pitching to a marketing company, video production company, real estate agent, because they're getting value from different ways. And so then the deliverable, even if it's all drone services, is going to look different too. It's like, hey, why are I had some feedback from a client recently. They're like, hey, why are all these like transitions so like zoomy and like really, really quick? Like my client needs to see everything that's going on the project with that video. So can we slow it down? And so I had to tell my editor, like, hey, we messed this up because this is more of a progress update versus like something for social media. And so is it an industry fit? How do you ask for feedback without coming across like you don't know what you're doing? Well, after I deliver the project or the product or the deliverables, the link, send it over to them, I just say like, I get a temp check, like, hey, just wanted to see if you had a chance to review the footage. Like, what were your thoughts? Did we, sometimes with the video, we'll do like multiple edits. So I'll be like, hey, did you want to make any edits on that? Or does that look good for you? And then that can start the conversation. But you want to go in with the intention of like, helping your client versus like, hey, I'm just giving you something and then leaving you, right? So when I'm working with my clients, I'm always trying to be on the same side of the table as them and going, hey, we're building this together. Like this relationship is going to help us accomplish this. And so how can we do that together? And then when the feedback comes, it's more like, hey, like this kind of came out weird, or can you slow the Zoom transitions down? I'm like, yeah, for sure. Totally understand. And then it's like, before I ask for the review, which I'll usually always ask for a testimonial at the end if it goes well, I'll usually say like, hey, so how was like your experience? Like, I would just love to make sure that I'm making my like business better and doing the best that I can. And then sometimes I'll put in like, if I haven't worked with someone for a long time, be like, hey, what can we do to like get you back on the schedule? Like, what did we need to maybe do last time that maybe we didn't do? And then just kind of leave it open ended and see where that goes. So, but like the last thing we want to have with our feedback is for someone to say, like, oh, yeah, man, it's just pretty good, for someone who's just getting started. Like, we absolutely don't want to hear that. And so, right out of the gate, like, if a lot of us are ones right now, like, we've got to be able to come out of the gate as strong as possible. And that comes with saying, hey, I'm going to go and do maybe some free jobs or some lower paying jobs and just get the experience. Because if I'm not that good, why would I be charging a higher price? If I'm really not that great at what I'm doing, and usually the first bottleneck is our drone ops. We're not good with the drone. Like we got a $3,000, $1,000 drone, but we can't utilize it well. And then it's like, okay, well, the product isn't that great. And then the bottleneck number two is usually our editing, our deliverables. So it's like, why would we charge extra when we know we're not doing a great job? So we've got to make sure in the first 10 jobs, first 10 clients that we work with, free or paid, that we are being able to get that experience that we need, get that initial feedback like, hey, I want to make it a lot better. I want to exceptionally grow, like exponentially grow. How do I do that? Like, we don't want to hear, yeah, it's like pretty good for someone who's just getting started. Like, oh, like we want it to be like, man, I can't believe I just heard about you. Like, this is exceptional work. Good job. So, this is like the start of our foundation. These are kind of like our two legs, obviously. The marketing really stands on this. If we don't have these two things, like, we shouldn't even market. Well, I hope you got some value from that, diving into the basics and really building on the foundation to have a successful drone business, some of what I've done over the years. If you want to watch the full hour-long workshop, go ahead and click the link below, and that'll take you there to the, I think it's an hour long, where you can kind of dive in and really see the nitty-gritty, the long-term strategy of the marketing, more about me, more about what I've done. So if you're interested in getting help with your drone business and you think, hey, maybe the drone crew is something that I would benefit from, I'd love to book a call with you. We could chat, you and my team, a little bit more about your goals, where you're at, and really where you're wanting to get to, just to make sure you would be a good fit for the program and we could give you a ton of value. Keep in mind, I only work with licensed 107 pilots in the United States. So if you don't have that, go and get that first and then give me a call. You can click the link below to book a time with my team and to really chat and see, hey, can we help you? Can we take your drone business to the next level this year? So that way you have the foundation built and we can start making money.